As gardeners, we are taught to love compost. We see it as the black gold that solves all our soil problems, and for good reason. It is teeming with life and goodness, and adding it to our gardens certainly feels like the right thing to do. So, every autumn, many of us dutifully clear out our raised beds, pulling up every last spent plant, and then heap on barrow after barrow of fresh compost. We believe this annual ritual is the key to a bountiful harvest next year. It is a satisfying job, leaving our plots looking neat, tidy, and ready for their winter slumber under a dark, rich blanket. However, I am here to suggest that we might be loving our soil to death. It is entirely possible to have too much of a good thing, and compost is no exception. When we add vast quantities of it year after year, particularly in the enclosed environment of a raised bed, we can create a serious imbalance. Compost is incredibly rich in organic matter and certain nutrients, but it can create a soil that is too water retentive and overly dense. This can lead to problems with drainage and aeration, essentially suffocating the very roots and microorganisms we are trying to help. It is a paradox we rarely consider. Over time, this compost-heavy approach can lead to a buildup of specific nutrients, like phosphorus and potassium, to excessive levels. While plants need these elements, an overabundance can lock out other essential micronutrients, preventing plants from absorbing them. Your soil might test high in major nutrients, yet your plants could show signs of deficiency. It is like feeding a child nothing but cake. It is full of energy, but it lacks the balanced nutrition needed for proper health. This is why we sometimes see our garden's productivity decline, despite our best efforts and our endless generosity with the compost heap. Furthermore, the constant cycle of clearing everything away and adding new material disrupts the delicate soil ecosystem. Every time we dig and turn the soil, we destroy the intricate networks of fungal hyphae and the tiny tunnels created by earthworms and other creatures. We are essentially hitting the reset button on a complex living community that has been working all season to build a healthy soil structure. Instead of fostering a self-sustaining system, we create a dependency. Our garden beds come to rely on our annual intervention rather than learning to look after themselves. This is not how nature intended it. Now, let me introduce you to a different way of thinking, one inspired by the wisdom of Amish farming communities. They have long understood that healthy soil is not built through grand gestures, but through quiet, consistent, and natural processes. Their method for preparing beds for winter is wonderfully simple, and I believe far more effective in the long run. It is a shortcut that does not cut corners on quality. In fact, it builds a richer, more resilient, and more balanced soil than the conventional method of piling on fresh compost. This is about working with nature, not imposing our will upon it. The primary benefit of this approach is its effortlessness. Think of all the time and energy you spend clearing beds, hauling wheelbarrows, and spreading compost. This method eliminates most of that labor. Instead of seeing your spent plants as rubbish to be cleared away, you see them as the first ingredient for next year's soil. It is a shift in perspective that saves your back and frees up your autumn weekends for more pleasant gardening tasks. It respects the natural cycle of decay and renewal, allowing it to happen right where you need it most, in your garden bed itself. This gentle technique also fosters a thriving soil food web. By leaving the plant debris in place and covering it, you are providing a continuous feast for earthworms, beetles, and countless microorganisms. These creatures are the true soil builders. They will pull the organic matter down into the soil, creating channels for air and water as they go. Their activity aerates the soil far more effectively than any garden fork could. You're not just feeding the soil, you're feeding the soil's workforce, and they will repay you tenfold with improved structure and fertility. Ultimately, this Amish-inspired shortcut leads to a more sustainable and self-sufficient garden. Your raised beds will stop sinking every year because you are constantly replenishing the organic matter from the top down, just as it happens in a forest. The soil becomes a living, breathing entity that regulates its own moisture and nutrient levels. You will find you need fewer amendments and less water over time. It is a method that builds soil capital, creating a rich inheritance for future seasons of growth, rather than simply spending our compost budget each year. So, how do you put this wonderfully lazy method into practice? The first step is the easiest of all. Do less. When your summer crops like tomatoes, beans, or courgettes have finished producing, resist the urge to pull them up by the roots. Instead, take a pair of secateurs and simply chop the plants down at soil level. Leave the roots in the ground. These roots will slowly decompose over the winter, providing food for soil microbes and leaving behind a network of fine channels that improve the soil structure. Aeration. and drainage without you lifting a finger. Next, take the top growth you have just cut down, the stems, stalks and leaves, and chop it up into smaller pieces. You can do this with your secateurs or a pair of shears. Let all this material fall directly onto the surface of the bed. This is your brown and green material, all in one. It forms the foundation of your winter blanket. If you have some other garden trimmings like the leaves from brassicas or the tops of carrots, you can add them here too. You are essentially creating a rough in-situ compost layer that will break down slowly and naturally over the coming months. Once your plant debris is in place, it is time to add a light sprinkling of minerals. This is a key step that compost-heavy methods often neglect. A small amount of wood ash from a bonfire can provide valuable potassium and help to sweeten acidic soil. Alternatively, a dusting of rock dust or volcanic rock minerals will supply a broad spectrum of trace elements that are vital for plant health but are often lacking in standard composts. Do not overdo it. A very light dressing like dusting a cake with icing sugar is all that is needed to rebalance the soil's mineral content. Finally, cover everything with a generous layer of mulch. This is the perfect opportunity to use up old, semi-decomposed mulch from your paths, or perhaps some leaf mold that is not quite ready. Straw, spoiled hay, or even shredded cardboard will also work wonderfully. This top layer protects the soil from winter rains, prevents weeds from germinating, and keeps the soil life beneath it cozy and active. For an extra boost, you can sow a cover crop like field beans or winter tares before you mulch. Their roots will further improve the soil, and they can be chopped down in spring. Once you have tucked your beds in for the winter, a quiet and wonderful process begins. Hidden from view, beneath that protective blanket of mulch, an entire ecosystem gets to work. This is not a dormant period for your soil, it is a time of transformation. The mulch layer acts as an insulator, moderating the soil temperature and protecting it from the harshest frosts. It also intercepts heavy winter rain, preventing the soil surface from capping over and stopping valuable nutrients from being washed away. Your bed becomes a safe haven, a stable environment where life can continue its work. The real magic is performed by the earthworms and other soil dwellers. Attracted by the feast of decaying plant matter you have left for them, they will journey up to the surface, grab pieces of stalk and leaf, and pull them down into their burrows. As they move through the soil, they create a labyrinth of tunnels, which dramatically improves aeration and drainage. Their constant activity mixes the organic matter and minerals you added into the upper layers of the soil profile. This is nature's tillage, and it is far more gentle and effective than anything we can do with a spade. Meanwhile, a silent army of fungi and bacteria is busy decomposing the organic material. Fungal networks, known as mycelium, will spread like a fine web throughout the soil and the mulch layer, breaking down the tough, woody fibers of the plant stalks. Bacteria will work on the softer, greener material. Together, they slowly release the nutrients held within the plant debris, converting them into forms that will be readily available for your new plants in the spring. This slow-release fertilization is perfectly timed with nature, ensuring nutrients are on hand precisely when the next season's crops need them. By the time spring arrives, you will find that a remarkable change has occurred. The thick layer of chopped up plants you left on the surface in autumn will have vanished, seemingly into thin air. It has been incorporated into the soil by that tireless, unpaid workforce of worms and microbes. The roots you left behind will have rotted away, leaving behind stable channels that welcome new root growth. The soil itself will be darker, crumblier, and wonderfully fragrant. It will be alive, full of worms, and ready for planting with minimal preparation. The first and most noticeable result of adopting this method is the change in your soil level. Gardeners who use raised beds are all too familiar with the annual sinking phenomenon. Each year, the soil level drops as the organic matter within it decomposes and compacts, forcing us to top it up with expensive bags of compost. However, when you start leaving the plant residues in place, you are constantly adding new organic matter to the top of the bed. This process mimics the way soil is built in a forest, with a layer of leaf litter on the forest floor. You will find that your soil level remains stable, or even rises slightly, year after year. The texture and structure of your soil will also see a dramatic improvement. After just one winter under this new regime, you will discover a soil that is wonderfully friable and easy to work with. Pull back the remaining mulch in spring and you will not find a compacted, lifeless slab. Instead, You will be greeted by a dark, crumbly loam, riddled with earthworm burrows. It will hold moisture well without becoming waterlogged, and its loose structure will make planting seedlings a joy. This is the hallmark of a truly healthy living soil, built from the top down by nature's own expert gardeners. Furthermore, you will notice a difference in the health and vigor of your plants. The balanced diet of minerals from the wood ash, or rock dust, combined with the slow-release nutrients from the decomposing plants, creates a fertile environment that supports strong, resilient growth. Plants grown in this living soil are often more resistant to pests and diseases because they have access to the full spectrum of micronutrients they need for a healthy immune system. You are no longer just feeding the plant, you are feeding the entire soil ecosystem that, in turn, nurtures the plant. The results are stronger seedlings and ultimately more nutritious harvests. Perhaps the most rewarding benefit is the deep connection you will forge with the natural processes in your garden. By observing this cycle of decay and rebirth, you start to see your garden not as a project to be controlled, but as a partnership with nature. You learn to trust the worms and the microbes to do their job. This shift in mindset is profound. It exchanges hard labor for intelligent observation and replaces brute force with gentle encouragement. The satisfaction comes not from a tidy-looking plot in November, but from the vibrant, teeming life you uncover in the soil come April. So, as this autumn draws in and your thoughts turn to putting the garden to bed, I want to encourage you to try something different. Put down the garden fork, put the wheelbarrow away, and resist the ingrained urge to tidy everything up to within an inch of its life. This year, embrace a little bit of what might look like laziness, but is in fact, a deeply intelligent and efficient way of gardening. Choose one or two of your raised beds and commit to trying this Amish-inspired, nature-led approach. It is a small experiment that could change the way you garden forever. Trust in the process. It can feel counterintuitive to leave all that mess on the surface of your beds, especially if you are used to seeing them neat and bare over winter. But remember the forest floor. Nature does not tidy up with a rake and a barrow. It builds soil by layering life on top of death, slowly and patiently. Your garden has the same innate wisdom. By providing the raw materials, the spent plants, the minerals, the mulch, you are simply setting the stage for nature to perform its quiet, winter magic. Have faith in the worms, the fungi, and the bacteria. They know exactly what they are doing. Think of the freedom this method offers. Freedom from the backache of digging and hauling. Freedom from the expense of buying bags and bags of compost to refill sinking beds. And freedom from the worry that you might be doing more harm than good with your over-enthusiastic soil care. This approach is not just easier, it is better. It builds a soil that is more resilient, more fertile, and more alive than one that is constantly disturbed and artificially amended. It is a sustainable practice that pays dividends for years to come. Next spring, when you pull back the mulch on your experimental bed and find a dark, crumbly, and wonderfully worm-filled soil, you will understand. You will see the results of a whole winter's worth of quiet, unseen work. This is your invitation to join a simpler, more harmonious way of gardening. A way that values partnership over control, and trusts in the profound and enduring wisdom of the natural world. Give it a try this autumn. I promise, your back, your wallet, and your soil will thank you for it.